welcome to Reef Beef. My name is Rich.
And I am Ben.
And this is Reef Beef. Today, you are going to hear the genesis of the first ever long-term Reef Beef reefing experiment. We hope you enjoy it. This episode brought to you by saltwateraquarium.com, the purveyors of fine products for your aquarium. Beef! Beef! How you doing this week, Ben?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's kind of interesting to be recording in the daytime. We never do that. So that's kind of fun. Yeah. So you've got this, my beef would be people doing things because they see things on videos. And it just so happened that you saw something on a video and now you're going to do it. And so I want to, instead of just shredding you like I was doing on Facebook, because that's what friends do on Facebook. I want to try to understand your thought process and see if I'm wrong, which I could be. So the beef would be that, you know, people see something on a video and they go, oh my God, that must be the thing I should do, without vetting the person in the video or vetting their information, or like we both said, seeing a picture of their tank, right? Because that's an easy way to check somebody's advice, right? If you see their tank and it's not a tank that you want to have, don't do what they say. But anyway, so it's more freeform than the style we usually go. I think it'll mix in and out of the beef and the main course and the story time. So I guess we're starting with the story time. Ben, tell us how all this happened.
This is almost like that part in the 48 Hours movie where he says, Jack, tell me a story. And Jack goes, fuck you. And Eddie Murphy says, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with reef tanks, but it has everything to do with 48 Hours. Which is
and
great.
So tell us.
What was your question again?
My question was, what is the story that got you into this situation of taking a tank that you do for a client that's freaking bonkers awesome?
Let's show a video right here.
Okay. This tank is awesome. This is like one of the ones you always go, I've been doing this tank forever. Isn't it great? Right.
Yeah.
And you're going to change something on it. So tell us how that happened.
Well, let me push back a tiny bit, because I mean, do we ever stop learning?
No.
So, and then when you say, you know, watch a video and try something, like that's kind of the frustration is, you know, I'm always trying to absorb information. You should never feel like you know everything, because it's not even really possible to know everything. True. So I'm even going back to the basics. I'm trying to see what the cutting edge of the industry is doing, you know, and put it against, you know, that I've been doing this for so long, watching stuff come and go. I was just watching a video where someone, and again, this wasn't a random person. I don't think for the purpose of this video that we need to like name names, but it was someone else's show, and they had a well-known reef aquarium personality. Well, someone that works for a company, which right there, you know, I put that sort of information, you know, in a careful light when you're representing a company and then you're brought onto a show to explain something. I'm always thinking, okay, you work for a company. And so I'm pretty sensitive tune my ear towards why do you keep bringing the conversation back to your products, which basically kind of turns it into an infomercial.
Yeah, that's almost like somebody listening to this episode and us saying, hey, if you want to support Reef Beef, go to our page and hit buy us a coffee and become a member, or just buy us a coffee. And that'd be great, because that helps Ben able to dig time out of his schedule to learn how to use a timer. Yeah.
I can feel the time in my being.
And by the way, we really appreciate the responses we've got from the members. It's kind of overwhelming and awesome. And we've got stuff coming down the pipe for you. So more on that later. But since we're talking about it, if you can share this and like it and subscribe it, that kind of stuff helps us grow the audience, which helps us up our production values.
But why? Beef. But why?
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah, buddy. What's up?
There is a cool place to get all your reefing equipment and gear. And
where's that?
saltwateraquarium.com.
What kind of stuff do they have, Ben?
Dude, they have everything, man. They have everything your heart could desire that has to do with reef keeping.
Name me 2 things they have.
Protein skimmers and part A, part B dosing liquids.
That is some stuff that people like to buy.
Those are 2 things that people love. Anyway, it's pretty cool because they have like discount for military veterans. Even if you're not a veteran, if you just sat behind a desk and told people what to do, they'll still, if you're in the military, man, they got a discount for you. And healthcare workers too, which is awesome. They have a social media Facebook page where they, you know, they mean it for a lot of interaction with them, questions about products and this. I think you can even bug MrSaltwaterTank.com on there.
You mean you could ask a question and he might answer it?
You know, especially if you ask him non-reefing questions, like what color is your underwear and, you know, where do you go every Saturday?
Yeah, I think I can understand why saltwateraquarium.com would like to have that information out there.
Yeah, they do. They have a lot of articles, unfortunately, some of them written by me.
So they have information, and do they have a buyback program or a reward program?
They do. They have like a frequent buyer, you know, all those bells and whistles, or you get frequent buyer program. They have free shipping. There's no minimum orders. There's a lot of companies that have like $39 or $40, you know, anything less than that you'll still pay for shipping, but they have absolutely free shipping.
And what kind of ways do they accept payment?
Oh man, it feels as if you are baiting these questions to me. They do. Dude, Google Pay, you know, Amazon Pay, like Larry Pay, Johnny Pay, Susie Pay, everybody pay. They will figure out they'll take any clamshells, you know, purple dye.
Simoleons.
Yeah. Favors, grocery store trips. They will take money from you any which way.
Very cool. I think everyone should go to saltwateraquarium.com and tell them Reef Beef sent you.
Yeah. And, you know, it is a great company. They sponsor us. And if you help them out, that helps us out. Everyone's happy. And you will get your items that you wanted.
And here at Reef Beef, we don't advertise for companies we don't use or haven't vetted. And truth be told, I've been using saltwateraquarium.com for years and years and years. They have great selection, which is all I really care about, you know, or I used to always care about, because I knew I could go there, they would have it and it would get to me in a timely manner. So, you know, they've got stuff I need. I shop with them all the time for my regular supplies. So,
same.
So there,
as
so
the teenagers like to say,
we ain't telling you to go somewhere that we don't go ourselves. So saltwateraquarium.com. Thank you for sponsoring us, and thank you for being a company that we use. Beef.
But why? Beef.
So Ben, what were you were saying that you wanted to you were pushing back. You were saying that when it's a company, you pay a little attention a little differently.
I'm always trying to absorb as much information as I can stand in this hobby because of passion, and also because I feel like it's my job, since it is my job to stay current, to rebuff on the old stuff and check out what the cutting edge is doing, and, you know, file that away in my head wherever it belongs. So I watch a lot of YouTube videos. That can be a little frustrating because, I mean, as anyone knows about any subject on YouTube, like there's a lot of good videos. There's a lot of garbage too.
Yeah.
But so this wasn't a random person. This is someone who I know, and they were on.
How do you know them?
Just from the industry.
You've talked to them. They seem credible to you.
A few times.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I mean, in the 90s, I spoke at a thing he was speaking at. But anyways, you know, we don't have to name names, but he was on someone else's show, which I was watching as well. So he was talking about carbon dosing and, you know, bio pellets, GFO, use of vodka, sugar, vinegar, and all that. And like I said, I keep a keen eye when I know someone is on a show talking about something that they're company has products for. That would be a beef of me, is you gotta keep that. You watch a video and someone explains something so succinctly and in a great way, cogently, and it clicks in your brain and you like have an epiphany and you're like, oh, I get it. But I'm saying that the healthy dose of skepticism should always be there, you know, to separate what is convenient information for a company or not. You know, when you just make a blanket statement about nutrient profiles, do this. And if you put...
I watched the video and it all looked like blanket statements to me like that.
For sure.
So I'm trying to figure, so what in the video made you go, huh, I should change this in this system?
Well, okay, that's a couple different things. There is a video, and I think we said it before. I'll show a video of this tank that I do. I feel like it's one of my best tanks that I do. I made it 10 years ago, and I see it once a week to maintain it, and it's doing gangbusters. It's been doing gangbusters for a long time. But it's funny too, because you see the video, and you'll see the video on here. You're like, wow, that's a great tank. But it's funny, like when you're around your tank, like anyone watching this video would know this. Like you could have a great tank, but you know, like where that Mahano anemone is, or where that coral's doing something you don't want it to do, or where a little bit of hair algae is, which those things might not be apparent from the video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like there's things you're trying to, what's your comment about that? Like people think it looks great, but you know, like the little things about it that are bugging you. Yeah, I mean, the aquarium's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, but I'm laughing because it feels to me like you're going to change something to deal with the little things, and you're going to change things in a way that make me feel to a way of doing things that I have never thought is a good way of. But you were talking about doing bio pellets, right?
Yeah.
They've always made me really uncomfortable. So
I suppose you could say in this video, because I was an early adopter of bio pellets, man, I don't remember what year it was. It was a long ass time ago. It's when they first came out, because as the concept was sold back then, like we were talking about, I listened to what people were saying. I was like, cool, that's worth a try. Because generally in my business, anything that I could do to maybe make water changes a little less, or to kind of run on autopilot, make things easier, something I might try to mess with a little bit to see if it truly is.
Sure. Somebody sent me bio pellets when that happened. And what made me go was that they said, hey, let us know what it does. And I was like, wait, isn't it supposed to do what your advertising says it does? Well, yeah, but we're not sure.
I get it.
That was one of the things. The other thing that made me nervous about them after watching other people use them is that those reactors can bork hardcore. And so when you were talking about it, I was like, oh my God, I would never put this on a maintenance account, because if it borks when I'm not there, which is the only time it's going to bork, is and horrible things can happen, and then I have to run out and deal with it and go out, explain to the client why the tank's cloudy and all that kind of stuff.
Two things come to mind.
Yeah.
One thing is that methods and things evolve. Things are understood better over time.
Okay.
So that's that. The second thing, which includes you as well, is we're advanced reef keepers, and I have a full Neptune Apex on the tank as well. If anything started to bork, I can push that back real quick.
Okay. So you would have, if you do this, because you still might, right?
It's already going without the bio pellets right now.
Yeah. No, but you still might change to bio pellets. Just because we're talking doesn't mean you might do it anyway, right?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, no. So would you have been running the feed pump for the bio pellet reactor? Do you plan to do that on something that's Apex controlled?
Yeah.
So you can turn it off or on from home?
Yeah, if I saw something weird, I could turn it on or off for home.
All right, exactly. I already feel more comfortable.
Okay.
I still think you're crazy, but we'll get to that.
I definitely think, like I told you, I was an early adopter of biopellets.
Right.
I'd hate to put a date on it. It might have been like,
yeah,
it was even before 2010.
Yeah.
A long time ago. I ran with it, I think, for about 2 years. And I think at that time, like I was using, I think Microbacter 7 from, I think it's Continuum. Oh, if I got that wrong. No, it's, crap. It's Microbacter 7. I can't remember who makes it. Existed back then. So again, and this could be a beef of mine too, because like, you know, this is a common beef I've brought up is companies, marketing departments getting, you know, seeing a scientific paper about how this might do this. And then they kind of build a whole component of their company around this chemical or this, whatever, this media. And so, you know, and then they make the videos and the guys explain it and it sounds great and this and that. But I mean, you do need, you know, I'm skeptical at heart. So, you know, I might get swept up in what someone's saying, but I also need evidence.
Yeah, so that's why I want to know what in this video made you go, let's go back to biopellets again.
Let me tell you to answer that question real quick. One thing is that since I used biopellets a long ass time ago, and then I stopped after a couple of years, you know, it's weird because I'm used to watching things come and go, and they'll have a lifespan of, you know, at least, I don't know, 5 years.
Yeah.
But it's been amazing to me because, you know, like I said, I'm always consuming stuff from the industry as far as, you know, information and videos and blah, blah, blah. And I've been waiting for biopellets to go away. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to tell me anything, but it is telling a little bit, because in the back of my mind, like a couple times a year, I'll look at what's available and I'm like, why the hell did biopellets not go away?
Sure. At the same time, you know, micro bubbles haven't gone away either.
True, but I don't really see, you know, as far as what the things I look at, I don't really see that so much. And I mean, shit, micro bubbles, condense them and put them in a skimmer and do something called skimming where it belongs.
Well, I guess I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
I mean, as far as what the information is given, I understand the thought process behind what is going on, because I mean, I'm not special, but I'm saying since I take a lot of this information seriously, like when I go into something, I mean, I'm a professional aquarist. So when I dive into something where I'm trying to research it, I dive pretty fucking deep. And I may even spend like a week consuming all sorts of information about it and asking friends and blah, blah, blah. I don't go.
So tell us what's going on with biopellets. How is it supposed to work?
So biopellets it's a polymer, and it's something that these bacteria make themselves to store energy to use at a later date. Now, all I'm doing, I'm not giving you things that I think are evidence. I'm just giving you the information that I've consumed.
Tell me what your understanding of how a biopellet reactor works and what it's supposed to do.
So in the cloudy part is companies won't say what exactly the material is. A couple of them will.
Oh, who cares? Just tell me what's the basic, like what's it? So you put this thing on your tank and what's supposed to happen?
Well, get out of my way. Wait, come back, baby.
No, I just want to, okay, I'll be on this much, so I'm out of your way.
Just be like super creepy on the side, just like Hulk. No, so it is a polymer that bacteria make to store energy to use at a later date, but you put them in a reactor that tumbles them. It's important to have them tumbling. This certain type of bacteria grow on it and feed on it. And they mostly take up nitrate, but they also use phosphate. And the kind of colliding and bouncing around of these biopellets, their food that they are on and that they are consuming, sloughs them off. The skimmer is supposed to pick up some of them, but that also supposedly makes a great food for certain types of corals. What those certain types of corals is, you know, that's kind of cloudy too. So supposedly corals eat them, and in the process consume the phosphate, because that's another thing is we're all like, oh my God, phosphate. Well, phosphate is essential for life. Now you could also say that the nitrate and the phosphate and a lot of other nutrients that we have inside of a glass box is way higher than it is out in nature. So we don't have to get too squirmy about, man, I think I have it too low. It's already still probably quadruple what it is in the ocean, even if you think it's too low. So basically it's this bacteria that grow on there, get sloughed off, get sucked out by the skimmer, get eaten by the fish, consuming a little bit of phosphate and a lot of nitrate.
Okay, and then the bacteria get exported by the skimmer.
Yeah.
And that's how you're getting rid of those nutrients.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as I see it, as I've understood it, it's mostly about bringing down nitrate and only tangentially has to do with getting rid of some phosphate.
Okay.
But one of them can become a limiting factor. So that's where the trickiness lies. It's like, well, I run bio pellets. Should I run GFO? And should I have an ATS? And should I do this? And, you know, when you choose so many of those different things, you might be rendering one of them. Like, what if you had a bio pellet reactor and GFO reactor and an algal turf scrubber, and then one of them doesn't seem to be doing too much? Like, you'd have to ask yourself, like, should you pick a lane? Do two of them work well in conjunction with each other? You know,
are they competing with each other?
Yeah.
You know, so does it make sense to have, and one of the interesting things about the hobby is we don't know the answers to any of this. You know, the limiting factor, people like to talk about limiting now. You know, I don't know how you test for that in different systems. And I don't know, you know, we've got a lot of stuff that makes sense, I think, on paper. Whether it makes sense where the rubber meets the road, that's a whole different question. And practically, you know, like algal filters seem to make sense, but the evidence seems to show you need a crap ton of algae for them to work. So,
well, for a refugium, no, but for an algal turf scrubber, I'm not sure necessarily that's the case. Well, crap ton of algae. Refugium, I would think you'd want a large body of well-lit chitomorpha. Whereas when you're talking about algal turf scrubber, it's just that screen. And it would seem more to do like, did you get the right size unit or not?
Right. So now I know some people who have got ATS and it's doing really, and it seems to be doing really well for them. I know other people that run an ATS and it doesn't seem to be doing bubkiss for them. So
well, that's a tricky thing. That's the human factor. Like I'd have to look at each and every case. Like, how are you running it? What are you, you know?
So let's say we're seeing 50-50, 50% of the people are reporting that it's working for them. 50% of the people are reporting that it's not. Boy, that's a coin flip of, do I want to spend money and space on an ATS?
Well, okay, but that's when I go to my friends that I feel are like past my level and I discuss those things with them, because it's almost like reading like Amazon reviews. Like I don't just see like all the bad reviews and go, oh, those are bad reviews. I'll go and read some of them. And like, well, dude, what they wrote down, sometimes you're like, I hate to say this. Well, no, I don't. Sometimes you read them and you're like, you sound like a freaking idiot.
Yeah. So the people I'm talking about are people who are not Amazon reviews. Two people I respect very much. I mean, this is the bulk of it now. I've got two people who are saying, one person says it really works and the other person says it doesn't really work. Combined with my experience of him not doing anything, makes me go,
Here's my problem with your personal scenario.
Yeah.
This was a long time ago, correct?
This was 6 years ago.
And then you were also turned off by the fact that what they said to you was ignorant.
I did what I said, because I was saying the same thing back then about ATS. I was like, you know, I was saying, you know, the evidence seems to show it could work, but you need to have a crap ton of algae. And I don't want to be the same reason I don't grow my own live food. I don't want to devote all that space and energy and money into growing live food. The algae could work, but you need a lot of it, like 10 times the volume of your tank kind of thing. I just pulled that number out of my butt, by the way. But it's that kind of scale. And somebody said, let me send you one and you can try it. I said, fine.
But you can also tell us what it does.
Right. Well, they knew what it was supposed to do. So, right. So I got this ATS and I set it up and I ran it for 4 or 5 months, exactly how they told me to run it. Saw no blip in any of my numbers. And then I told them that, and they said, "Well, set it up this way instead." And I was like, "Dude,
shit. That reminds me of
not now. I've got
that reminds me of, I think that's episode 2 where we talked about my experience with Eco Aqualizer.
Yes.
Where you like, you test it and they're like, it didn't do anything. It's like, oh, well, you didn't do this.
Yeah, you didn't. You need to twist the plumbing a quarter turn.
Yeah.
No.
Well, within reason, like something that you go back to basics. Something should either be pretty simple to do, or why the fuck are you doing it?
Now, I did what they said. I changed it. Right. I think it was something about the amount of time the light was on, or when in the light cycle the light was on.
Wait,
on
you're mixing your metaphors, because it seems like right now you're talking about an algal turf scrubber.
It's just the idea of, but it's the same thing. When I watched people work with biopellets, they say set it up like this, and then people go, well, it didn't do anything, and they go, oh, well, you should set it up like this now, and that just makes my weasel word siren go off, because there's an infinite regression of, well, it's your fault because I know you set it up the way we said, but now you have to set it up a different way, and then that didn't work, and then that didn't work, and then I finally went, I'm not going to use this thing anymore.
And I see that, but also I get back to what I was pushing you back on before, saying that things evolve. Your one experience, bad experience, should not necessarily define the whole thing, especially
Absolutely.
6 years later.
Absolutely. But so that's why we're talking, because you're one of the people I respect. And so if you're seeing something.
That was your first mistake.
Yeah, 100%, because you're David Carradining the Hulk back there. It looks like he is doing autoerotic asphyxiation. Is he held up by a wire, or is that just part of your backdrop?
Dude, this is the magic of Hollywood. You're not supposed to point to the wire. He is floating.
Well, it looks like he's choking himself. He looks like he's choking himself out. I'm worried for his health.
If that's what gets him off, then Hulk will smash.
All right, Michael Hutchins. It's so I watched the video too. I didn't see anything that made me feel like anything had changed.
Because you're an ass.
Well,
I'm joking.
What did you see that you think has changed?
I watched the video several times because I'm a slow learner and special needs. But
everyone knows.
I wanted to really get it down. And I already knew of a lot of the concept, but like I said, it's good to go back and fill in the potholes, but getting it to stay in the potholes. So, I mean, one of the things, first of all, if you're basing all this on your one experience, you might not, okay, but you might not have like run it right and a bunch of, and I get it too. What you're saying is very valid. But so it's almost like starting an aquarium in itself, because it's a product that needs to slowly get bacteria grown on it. It is. Would you do that about starting up an aquarium and waiting for the cycle?
No, but we have shit ton of evidence, better than 50-50, that it works.
I'll grant you that. Now, this almost gets to something that's been on the cusp of my brain. When I'm thinking philosophically about our industry,
yeah,
I kind of feel like the future might have something to do with bacteria.
Oh, 100%. When I do this, it's because what you said about it needs time, and that is a very weasel word
for sure
way that people use. So that's why I go like this. So we get to the Hitchens thing, Hitchens razor. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. So it's like, what's the evidence that it will work? And
it needs evidence to be shown. The part that I can't stand is when a company gets like, well, that's proprietary. It's like, dude, I don't like that.
So what did you see in this video that made you think something has changed and that you want to try it again?
Well, see nothing. Hear, yes, heard. I just heard information that seemed to click in my brain. Like I said, man, I'm careful with that because it's like like all of a sudden I'm a convert. And you're peeing next to me at a urinal and I'm convincing you to use bio pellets. What
did you hear?
It just made sense what he was saying.
So nothing new. You just seemed to make sense to you this time.
No, a little new. He just explained how you're waiting for the bacteria to grow on there. So you have to be patient for that part and to slowly bring up the amount of bio pellets you are putting in there to match that. If you started it all up with this huge amount, I think maybe in the beginning when they first made these things, they didn't finesse out maybe some of the details, and over time that they have.
I don't think much of that's new. I mean, I'm not. Well,
trial and error, refining the process. Maybe.
Yeah, but that we've, it's been at least 6-8 years since people have been saying that, if not within the first 2 years of bio pellets.
But I think it's also been shown that once you get these things rolling and going, that it flatlines nitrates.
My anecdotal poll on that is that it's 50-50 or worse.
Well, I'm going to be documenting it before and after, and I'll give you a new poll to dance on.
Well, that would be evidence. So the evidence I see for it, and I'm kind of a jackass about this stuff. That's not right. I don't want to call.
Don't use it jackass because you're just skeptical, and I like.
I'm staunch about it because we've been burned so many times, right?
For sure.
And so, and we get a lot of people saying that I'm going to do it and document it, and then they vanish, and then what lingers is they said they were going to do it. It's like, well, where's the data? Where's the evidence? And I'm not talking, again, I keep bringing this up now because it's become a thing. I'm not talking about peer-reviewed papers. We're not going to get peer-reviewed papers about this shit. I just want to see the evidence. What was the nitrate before? How long did you wait? And what's the nitrate now? And of course, what else have you changed in your methodology during that time?
You know what's going to be fun? Let me do this via this show.
I think it's great.
I clean that tank once a week, and I can show you when we record once a week. I'll show you. So bear with me for a second. So I've been doing this tank for 10 years. I do it once a week. I'll get a HANA checker for the phosphate, and I think I'll do nitrate test kits. Give me fits because I'm not colorblind, and it's not the color, but the graduations of the shades. It makes me want to jump off a cliff.
When I was talking to Bingman about this 4 or 5 years ago, when I started doing the lanthanum, actually, he convinced me to get a Hawk DR890 off of eBay. It's like $500. It's another one of those things because the hobby stuff can be just so weird. And so I feel pretty good about my phosphate and my nitrate readings now with the Hawk.
I used to, when I was at the Houston Zoo, I used to use a Hawk DR 5000, and I missed that thing, but that thing was like, back then was $5,000. There's no way in hell I'd ever have one. But
I'm going to go grab it because I'll show you what it looks like.
Yeah. But, just to reiterate, and what Rich is saying, I feel it's both. It's not, if anyone watches this and like, they're arguing, it's not like that. Rich is right in his skepticism. Now we're going to argue about whether we're arguing or not.
And this is, what's cool about this? This is the kind of argument that, an argument is just people having different points of view and expressing them to each other.
I think we just assume that when people are arguing, they're mad.
Yeah. And I think this is what gets lost online and online discussions. We're just saying shit back and forth. We're not going, fuck you. It's so easy to feel challenged in a fuck you way online and with just text. And I think most of the time nobody is doing that. It's just I'm just taking out all of the massaging your nuts to make you feel better about yourself, because I just want to get to the meat of the discussion.
Well, like if you were just like, oh man, that's great, like that mamby-pamby type of stuff. Yeah. But, and here's what I mean, not even just the, okay, that's like a little handheld unit. That is cool. Yeah.
And it's got,
so wait, you did get one.
What?
You did get it.
Oh, 100%. 100%, because I thought for another $300 as opposed to other test kits that I was going to get, that first of all, this will last forever. And it's going to be
matched sets.
What do you mean matched sets?
So at the zoo with the DR5000, you get 2 quartz, because quartz has better visibility through with the better clarity with the laser going through. And they would match sets. They would check the thickness down to like some micrometer, nanometer.
I bought the ones that are recommended for it.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Is it 2 where you have a clear 0 and then 1 with the reagent?
Yeah, I just bought a 6-pack of them. So the clear is a 0 and then the one with the reagent. And when I set it up, I set up 3 of those vials. One of them is the 0, one of them is for nitrate, and one of them is for phosphate. So this is
how long have you had that?
2 or 3 years.
That is pretty sweet.
Maybe 4 years. The new one that's out, they may even have a newer one. When I looked, it was the DR9000 or 900 or 905, and that's like $1,500.
What was that one that we had that was $5,000?
That's the big benchtop one.
Yeah, it was benchtop one.
Yeah, and this does a whole bunch of different tests as well. But the only ones I thought that it mattered for me, that I cared to get the reagents for, were nitrate and phosphate. So this is eBay. eBay is a good place to get used stuff like this.
You know, the funny thing I realized while working around that Hawk DR5000 at the zoo is the packets, the little foil packets that Hawk makes. Yeah. And it gave me the epiphany. I was like, wait, these look like Red Sea packets. And I was like, oh. Red Sea calls Hawk and say, can we get the little reagent packets?
Yeah, sure.
It's one of those things where you see where things come from.
Yeah. It seems to me you want to give this a try because of reasons that make sense to you now. That's great.
Let's get to the reasons.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't think there was anything new in that video that we didn't know, but it could be new to you. And if you decide to do it, we'll document it here, which is pretty cool and kind of fun. We'll see how that goes.
I have no reason. Oh, I know one. I know the thing I was going to say.
What was that?
I mean, this is a conscious effort that I use in my life. I don't remember where I got this from. It might have been watching Hitchens videos, or it might have been someone else. But I'm careful not to wrap my own ego into the things that I learn. Because then if I learn for some reason, not just ego, but also the way I feel about the person, if I really look up to someone that's telling me something, I file that in my brain that you really like this person. So be careful not to just swallow info just because you like them. And then when someone argues against you, either your ego is wrapped up in this information because you work for the company. And when someone gives compelling evidence that you're wrong, you get upset. And that's when you say, hey, fuck you. Like, why are you saying fuck you in a discussion? Either you have facts or you don't. No reason to say fuck you.
It's kind of an argument from authority in a way.
Or then the other one is like, well, Richard told me that. And I really like Richard. And he knows what the fuck he's talking about. So it has to be right. So, I'm careful to couch information in those two things, ego and how I feel about someone.
Yeah. Well, you have to do that to a certain extent, right? I wrote an article about anecdote and why we have to trust it. That's all we've got. So you get your stable of people that you trust, and you should have reasons that you trust them, not just because other people trust them, although that comes into it. Yeah. And then you at some point, like if Randy Holmes Farley or Craig Bingman on chemistry questions, I just kind of trust them. Yeah. Because I am
even on Randy Holmes Farley, because I super look up to him too. Never met him, but I mean his articles, like go ahead and do your best to rebuke Randy Holmes Farley, because I'd like to see your resume.
Right. Well,
but there is the weird things like I'm going to do this on camera and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the whole thing people got wrapped around the level of phosphate needs to be 0.05 comes from Randy Holmes Farley citing an oceanographic phytoplankton thing.
Yeah. No, he's very good when he says it. He says, this is the best piece of information we've got, so that's the one we're going to use. He doesn't say this is the way it is. But
then the weird thing is when you see literally thousands of people parroting that, and it's like, but why that number? I know that can get annoying. And I'm very much like you, where I'm the guy saying, but why, all the way down a rabbit hole. And people are like, just shut the fuck up. But it's like, but no, because I want to know. You need to go. It's okay when something has been accepted as fact, as this is how we do it. But I'm the kind of person that will double back around and test it years later to say, why are we still doing this?
Yeah. Now, I think that's really great and it's really important. And I am always on the verge of trying an ATS again.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do the work. Is what it comes down to, I think.
I hear, I'm not saying I'm like a giant Elon Musk fan, but I'm just saying I hear people like Elon Musk, when I listen to podcasts, they use this term first principles.
Yeah.
Where they go back and they go back to what we are all comfortable in saying and doing and say, but why? Go ask why it's something that someone has left a long time ago and you find out that we're either completely incorrect. Man, it's really eye-opening to listen to podcasts too, like Freakonomics and stuff like that. In Science Lab, where they go back and they tear up things you thought you knew, and you're like, what the hell? It really gives you a sense of be careful about what you think you know, because a huge portion of the things you think you know could be completely erroneous.
Yeah, and at the same time, if you open your mind too much, your brain will fall out. So
yeah,
you got to run this kind of line of, no, I know what I think I know, and I've got good reasons to know that. But I'm also going to pay attention to these other things that are happening, and maybe it'll change the direction a little bit.
But why? Beef.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Richard.
Let's say I was a beefer. I like the show. I think Ben is incredibly sexy, and I want to help the show continue to exist over time. What would I do?
Man, share, with our YouTube videos, share to your homies and your homettes and non-binary homies, or whatever the hell that term is. If you hate people and you hate the show that to your enemies, so you can watch them wither and die on the vine. Also too, there's the buy us a beer thing. There's the memberships too. What is it? reefbeefpodcast.com / membership.
So there'll be avenues to ask questions. There'll be avenues to get you on the show. There's 4 different levels, different prices. Or if you just dig us, you can always click the buy us a beer, and that money goes directly to us and helps support the show. Yeah. So and the other stuff you could do, like always, is help promote the show. And Ben, how do you recommend to people they help us promote the show?
With a smile on your face.
And a step and a dance in your step.
With a pep in your step. No, what are you trying to parse out of me?
I'm trying to get you to tell people to share and like and spread the good word of the show around.
I thought I already did that. Spread and share the good word.
Ben, how would you do that? If you were a beefer and you were motivated, what would you like take a link to the show and go to your favorite forums and say, hey, people, check out this podcast?
Well, you're putting words into my mouth that I wasn't forming on my own.
Because when I try to be subtle, you just say, like, hey, what do you know about physics? And it's like, what are you talking about, Ben?
You kind of need a sledgehammer with me sometimes.
I've noticed, and that's why I enjoy you.
Yeah. Say something, you dancing monkey.
Yeah, you're still not saying it though. I'm laying out the words.
If you're on like hobby related forums, like go on there and share our podcast and say, I like this crap.
Yeah, that would help us out a lot, because the more eyes we get on, the easier it is for us to keep the show going and get advertising.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to everyone who has already bought us a beer or has become a member or supported us in any way, really, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate it. It's been really fulfilling and cool that people have dug the show, especially because it's kind of insane. I mean, it's the show that Ben and I would want to see. So we're doing it, which is why we say bad words all the time.
Oh, so by the way, Rich.
Yeah, Ben, what's up?
I fucking love you, bro.
Oh, dude, I fucking love you, bro.
But why? But why? But why? But why? But why? Beef, 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 beef.
Let me to talk about Reef Aquarium stuff. What's going on in the tank that makes you want to change something?
Okay, part of it is probably based on things that I see. Another part, which is maybe not as savory, is just me knowing that the tank looks great, which again, you saw the video, it looks great, but wanting to push things a little further, which may or may not be smart, but I feel, again, I made the tank 10 years ago. I've been around it every time for a week ever since then. Like, I know the tank intimately. I know kind of where I can push the boundaries and how to back up. And
okay, because I hear you say this and I go, fuck, you are crazy. Risking your centerpiece, kind of just cause. I mean, what do you? I mean, and again, I not again, but you haven't done it yet. You did say that you wanted to get some baseline measurements first, and check stuff. But what's actually? I mean, are you just dicking around, or is there?
No. Out of the blue, it's gotten like in little sections here and there, some, kind of long, I suppose, derbesia, some hair algae that's kind of grown up. And the client is not a hobbyist, which that's the type of clientele I pick up. It's just like, write me a check and hand me the steering wheel and enjoy is the way I approach it. But, and he'll mention things here and there that he sees. And, to help. I love it, though. He's kind of like a co-pilot who just pipes up about, oh, I saw this. And, we get all into it. And but so, there's been sections where it's cropping up on the I have a Hippopus and a Tridecna squamosa clam in there, and also a Maxima. And each one of those clams had gotten that situation where you'll get hair algae growing on not the mantle, but the shell a little bit. And it's annoying to me. And also,
it sounds like an herbivore problem to me. Yeah,
and I get that too. And Matt Wandell always, says that, and I agree with that. You don't have an algae problem; you have an herbivore problem. Just get something to eat it and poop it into the system.
So for your experiment to actually work, you have to add no herbivores.
Okay.
For this,
let's make this a Reef Beef Experiment.
Okay.
It will take a long time, because the way I'm wanting to do this is I want a good month or more of weekly nitrate phosphate tests, documented, written down. I'll share them on the show every time we record.
All right, great.
And then, this is going to be a long ass experiment, because Go ahead. The only way I'm going to do this type of experiment to a client's tank, it's going to be for what a hobbyist would consider agonizingly long anyways. This whole process may take about 4 months.
Yeah, unless the client goes, what the hell is going on with all this algae?
Yeah, and then I'm not going to let a client tank get weird.
Yeah, which is also a result. So there's a lot of interesting things here. I think it's pretty cool.
The tank is pretty heavily stocked. The client definitely, it's a running joke, but the client feeds like an Italian mother. Which is great, because you see the video of the tank and it's like, I do quite large water changes. It's a 320 gallon total system. Actual tank itself is 280 gallons. I come in once a week. I do a lot of things. One of the things I do is 30 gallon water changes once a week. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, 120 gallons out of 380. That's pretty heavy, don't you think?
Yeah, that's interesting, because I was doing the math on my system. I know we talked recently about that I'm going back to more water changes, or I'm starting up more water changes.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing effectively, it's about the same size system, as it turns out, as yours. I'm doing effectively 120 or 130 gallons a week water change. I mean, a month. I'm doing 20 liters a day, which is like 6 gallons. And that adds up. And I use the effective water change calculator, which we'll put a link to.
Okay.
So this will be interesting.
But so I'm going to do a whole bunch of nothing for about a month or two.
Okay.
Which is just testing to get myself a long baseline of nitrate and phosphate levels. Once I'm there once a week. Now, then let me tell you about the equipment that I'm using. I am using the Avast Marine Works. They call it a spyglass, where it's kind of a cool cone, but that allows less back pressure, and it allows me to use a smaller pump to tumble. It also doesn't have a top, so it just spills out over the top into a secondary thing.
Yeah, so you really don't want to put too much through because you get biopellets all in the system.
Well, it also
is there a screen?
With a stainless steel screen on the top.
Oh, stainless.
But you know, I do know one thing about biopellets is they cause a lot of bacterial growth on stuff. So you'd have to do a toothbrush and keep that screen clean to not add too much back pressure to the stuff trying to come through. But I'm not even going to add biopellets for a good maybe month and a half to 2 months. I'm just grabbing baseline nitrate phosphate. And then what I will do is, like, let's say, eventually I'll need 150 milliliters of biopellets when fully functional. Well, I'm going to add like 50 milliliters of biopellets every maybe 2 to 3 weeks, because that's what another thing you're supposed to do. You're supposed to ramp up slowly too.
Sure.
There's several, and now this is what it gets cloudy here too, because some people are saying you don't need to supplement with some sort of bacteria. It'll do it on its own. But also, they come in and say, there's this product, Tropic Marin has a product, Continuum has a product, Two Little Fishies said almost everyone has one of these products to use with biopellets, which are supposed to be these, nitrate reducing bacteria that love to live on these pellets specifically.
How much are you supposed to add and how often?
Well, each product, each bottle has its own thing. And, again, that's marketing murkiness. I'll call it that, marketing murkiness.
I mean, I can dig it if they want you to add it, over 4 weeks, to establish that bacteria. But if they want you to add it forever.
No, I think all of them across the board say, you would do it in the beginning to establish it, and then you can back off unless the system has a hiccup. Because I've had biopellet reactors before in the past. When I used them, they'd get stuck, and then the pellets wouldn't tumble. They glue together, and then it gets gray and stinky like hydrogen sulfide. And at that point, you're supposed to throw those away and get new ones if that happens to you.
All right, cool.
And I'll continue to read what the nitrate and phosphate. This is going to take, like I said, it's going to take a long time. This will be a long experiment. And my ego is not wrapped up into it. I don't give two shits. This experiment will bear out, and I will talk about it, whether it goes well or whether it goes real shitty.
Dig it. I dig it. That's it. Enjoy the show.
Tip your waitress.
Tip your waitress. Beef.
Sometimes I say beef too aggressively. I'd like it to sometimes be a little more romantic.
Romantic beef. Little ASMR beef.
It doesn't have to be so.
Welcome to Reef Beef.
Welcome to the beef hotline.
Here,
I'm your host, Ben Johnson.
I'm your other host, Rich Ross, and we're here to reef your beef.
We're here to field calls from you about your beef sensitivities.
Reef beef. Beef.
Reef beef. Beef you can trust.
Beef. Beef.
Beef.
Beef.
Beef.
Beef.
Then you could say it quizzically, like beef,
or beef,
or like that you're totally in and oh, beef.
Beef, dude, beef.
Or like a greeting. You can't believe someone's never heard, like, dude, beef. Come on.
Or a greeting like beef.
Beef, man. Oh, your fez. Can we show the beefers? Let's show the beefers your Viking haircut.
I can't. I like that.
Viking. Yeah.
Beef,
but that's so baby. Crazy that you have a Viking haircut and you cover it with a Turkish hat.
I am crazy about different cultures on my head.
Yeah. Those glasses were originally invented by Inuit.
I did know that. And they used them to hunt whale.
They did, because you need glasses for whales.
Yeah, when they were really close up, because they're close up bifocals. Sometimes you got to get like really close to the whale and you want to be able to see it.
Like so whales are so huge, but their sexual organs are so small. You need the glasses to say like, oh, it's a girl, kick her back in.
Yeah, this is a beef fact.
It is. And is it also possible to say that whales are made out of beef? That's not true.
That is true.
Whales are actually made out of cows.
It depends on your definition of beef.
Well, because you could say that a whale is kind of sort of an ocean cow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, maybe that's a manatee. So maybe
we are pushing.
A dugong.
Here in North America, we're too used to saying manatee, and I kind of feel like I like going with the underdog. So dugong.
Different animal.
Dugong, get it on. Dugong.
They are actually a different animal though.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then just fuck everything I just said.
You mean
literally and physically,
and emotionally and spiritually,
yeah, metaphysically.